Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You got me?
Hey there, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me yet?
No, I can't hear you.
You can't? Let's try something else. Hold on real quick.
Shoot. Oh yeah.
How about now? Okay.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Ask to unmute. Okay.
How about now?
It's unmuted, but I can't hear. Hold on. Oh,
Okay.
wait. Now talk.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We got it?
Got it, man. We got it. We got it. What's up, man?
Oh man. That was challenging.
It is. It's challenging for a couple of college graduates. It's
Come on, man. Oh, I just gotta just do a webinar.
I know, right? I guess. Hope nobody talks bad about us, man. Who knows?
Nah, it's all good.
It's all
Whatever.
good. So how you been?
Man, good. Doing good. Just like getting everything started on the business and whatnot. You know, it's funny that we're having some of these technical difficulties. Literally, man, it's like everything that I've been dealing with basically, right?
Really?
Oh, all constantly, man. Like I've switched like software providers a couple of different times and having to move stuff over and just trying to get everything to work right now has been really I mean, like weeks of trying to find the right software and get things to work correct, you know. And that's been a real pain in the ass, like massive. Right?
Yeah.
Just spending days trying to get things to work. But I finally got them going and I'm starting to move forward. I'm just trying to like network and
Get the name out there. Kiss babies and shake hands.
people. Yeah. Touch as many people as I can that are already within my network, you know.
Right.
And trying to kind of get all of that going and letting people know, hey man, I'm back. Let's get together. Let's hang out. Whatever that is, you know.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How
That's
about
cool.
you?
Cool.
How things going?
Things are going well. You know, just adapting. I would imagine just like everyone in this new norm. So just doing a lot of obviously Zoom calls and so forth. But it's definitely different. Just a different different time. But you just have to adapt, just like anything.
Yeah, no doubt. That's probably one of the biggest things I'm having to kind of figure out too, like talking about adapting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm used to doing everything in person with people.
Yeah,
That's,
no, me too.
That's how I was trained and that's everything that I've done. And I actually always kind of avoided the phone just from past experiences not being too good. And so like I'm having to figure out how to do that on the phone and contact people that, you know, that not necessarily a cold call, but we'll just say like a warm lead type of deal.
Right.
Being better with my interaction on the phone and just communicating people the same way I would in person. So I'm a work in progress, but I'm getting there.
There you go. There you go. Well, I guess you know, now that face to face, I can kind of go into my little intro for this, and you know, obviously we touched a little bit on it on the email, but you know, hopefully student athletes are going to be looking at this interaction between you and I, and so what I like to do is kind of an intro, and then obviously you know, kind of bring you in as well. So here goes. What's up, everyone? My name is Pat Brown. I'm a financial advisor with Edmonds Duncan Investment Advisors out of Lawrence, Kansas. Played football for University of Kansas years and years ago. I was a 3-year starter, played outside linebacker while at the university, and enjoyed myself immensely. I've really gotten a passion for working with student athletes and just helping with financial literacy. And so I started this series up with former student athletes, and I hope to help current student athletes form better habits sooner than later as far as dealing with financial matters. And so, having said that, I wanted to real quick touch on the definition of financial literacy because, in my mind, I think a lot of guys have this connotation of financial literacy, meaning that they're not that bright. And so, financial literacy is the process of a set of skills and knowledge that allows an individual to make an informed and effective decision with all their financial matters. So, having said that, my guest is the Derek Fine, played football at the University of Kansas, was part of the infamous Orange Bowl, 2008 Orange Bowl, one of the best teams in KU history, minus I'm joking. So a little bit about you. I tried to do a little cyber stalking. So you received the Gale Sayers Award for team's most courageous player, team captain. Then you went on to get selected to the Bills in the fourth round.
Yep.
You fine. Look at you. Okay. And then looks like you played with a couple of teams here and there. So having said that, we're going to touch on that towards the end. Kind of tell me about, your freshman and sophomore year as far as your interactions with money. Had anybody ever talked to you about whether it's savings, budgeting, or even credit? How did that stuff kind of come to you when you were coming through?
It came to me by trial and error.
Trial and error, yep.
Without a doubt. Yeah. I come from a very lower middle class family, small town in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. It's just not something that we ever talked about.
Yeah.
Right. So if you would have talked to me back whenever I was a freshman or sophomore and you started dropping the word credit on me, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Like credit
card. No, I don't have any credit cards. Right. Yeah. Like that's probably about as far as I would have gotten. I really didn't start to learn, I think, about financial matters at all really until actually I was out of the league, to be honest with
you. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And that was why I wanted to join you on this as well, because of how important I know that it is. Mm-hmm. Everything that I did, I had to learn along the way. Now, that's not to say that there weren't resources that were there while I was in the league, but even my financial advisor that I had, which he was a good man, he really didn't talk to me about any of that stuff.
Oh, wow.
About putting together a budget or talk to me about credit. I mean, he was strictly there, which I didn't know at the time. He was strictly there to invest my money. And that was the way that he had approached his job, which that wasn't what I needed. Right. And I thought it was going to be something different. Right.
Right.
So to answer your question, I'm getting long-winded. I didn't start learning about those things until, let's be real. I didn't learn about them until it was too late. Right. Yeah. And then I have to start learning about these things on my own, where if I would have been, if I would have known more, probably starting out, or even have one of these kind of seminars or webinars in college to prepare my mind for the direction that I needed to go, then I would have been in a better place to make those decisions.
I again, obviously agree with you wholeheartedly. I think a lot of times with athletes, again, the connotation is not quote the brightest. And I think it's really about exposure. Regardless of where you come from, what neighborhood, or how you're brought up, if you're not exposed to the stuff, then it's not gonna be on the radar. And like you said, then that radar gets kind of skewed a little bit, and then you'll make these decisions or come across until later on in life. I hear you on that one. And you had kind of touched on both these questions, so I just kind of skipped to the next question, just in regards to, when you kind of heard about it. But when you look back in college, what were some of your worst financial decisions, and then what were some of your best decisions?
That's a really good question.
We know you're at the Burge party, kicking it on the weekends.
The old Burge.
Yeah, the old Burge.
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm trying to really think, and I looked at the questions before. Really, I don't feel like I made either one, to be honest. I think one of the best things that I did was whenever I very first started, I looked at that money that was coming in that I had to pay for food, um, booze, be
Yep.
real,
Yeah,
food,
absolutely.
booze, and then to do anything else fun. And
Mhm.
so my worst decision, here it is. So my worst decision financially whenever I was in college was not having a plan. My plan was I'm going to take this money and I'm going to stretch it as far as I can go. I know I've got to pay my rent and my bills right here, and then
Mhm.
I'll kind of figure out the rest on the back end, right?
Yeah. So no
And
plan.
and
Yeah.
I knew how much I had to spend through the month and what I needed to have left over, in order to just kind of get me going into the next month and utilize it that way. So I was pretty stingy with my money.
Hey,
I
all
didn't
right.
spend, I didn't spend a whole lot, because if I had something where I was wanting to go out or do whatever, I want to make sure that I still had money. And
Hey,
that's a whole different conversation on how I save money on that end.
hey, that
But
might be another episode.
it
Right.
is. Um, so the worst decision was not having a plan, and I
Gotcha.
didn't have anything set out to understand, okay, well, here's what I can do with my money as opposed to here's what I'm going to do with my money to try and stretch it as far as possible. Because I could have made a ton of better decisions based on what I had in my account.
Mhm.
And let's say like even just setting aside $100 of that
Right.
and a little bit each month, whatever that might be, and trying to
Right.
think about how to really utilize the money. So I just didn't have a plan. That's the worst decision. I don't know, honestly, at the age that I was at whenever I was in college, I really didn't make any best
I
decisions.
didn't either. I didn't either. Make no mistake about it. I didn't either. So
Yeah.
I hear that. So and again, this probably touches on just the answer you just gave. But looking back at college now, what do you wish you would have done different in regards to dealing with your money, if anything?
Well, I wish I would have talked to somebody and had something like this, what you're doing for student athletes,
Mhm.
or even just went in and started seeking out some kind of financial education to get me started. Because I think that it's proven time and time again, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail,
Yep.
right? The old
Yep.
saying and stuff. Um, so I wish that if I could go back, I would go back and figure out how to talk to somebody or find the right information financially that was going to propel me towards success after I was graduated and I was starting to make money on my own.
Hmm.
Um, and I think you just did one of these with BMAC here a couple days ago, didn't you?
Yeah. 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 And
So
yeah, I mean, very similar, concepts and stories as far as just a realization, once you kind of get further along,
right.
that it's hard to kind of rebound from a lot of that stuff.
Yes.
But yeah,
And
I
that's
hear
we were just talking about that a couple of days ago.
you. Hmm.
Um, that the mistakes that we made early on were
Hmm.
really due to just not having a plan and not having some kind of education or preparing ourselves for that next step. And that's where you start. I've seen a bunch of guys. That's where you start getting in trouble, and you have to dig yourself out. And sometimes, man, that takes way too long. Much longer than it should to dig yourself out.
Yeah, yeah, it's the recovery. That's what gets you. That's
Yeah,
what gets you.
for sure.
Um, so the habits that you formed while you're in college, how have those affected your life after college, if they have? So whether financially or whether just athletically.
Sure. Um, uh, it affected me negatively, you
Hmm.
know, because I never prepared for any of that in college. And so once you create those habits continue to repeat themselves,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So whenever you never had any money, you just spend what you could whenever you had it. And then whenever the new money came in, you spent what you could whenever you had it. And so, I never had a plan. And that carried forward into my habits once I got out of college and then I got into the league. Um, and I wasn't spending a lot of money on like stupid stuff, like crazy expensive diamonds, or if you got money for it, by all means.
Right.
um
Right.
I started spending a lot of money on other people. Like I like to gift and like help other people out and like, let's go
Sure.
have fun together. Let's do these things.
Experiences and so forth.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And so I spent a lot of my money there, but without having the plan, there's not, I didn't have a budget that was set in place in forms of, okay, well, I can go do this. I'm setting this percentage aside into savings, or I'm setting this percentage aside into investments or whatever
And then
that may.
like an amount that you can kick it with. Because I mean,
Right.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. I mean, budgeting, as long as you have that amount that you can still have that release, whether it's like you said, hanging with friends or what have you, it definitely be beneficial. So that again, I hear you in that, man.
If I would have done that and I would have had a plan, um, and I would have started that in college and then
Mhm.
carried that forward and carried the good habits forward, I would be in a much, much different spot than I am right now, without a doubt.
Gotcha. That's powerful, man.
Yeah.
That is powerful. So, and this is kind of getting towards the end here, but what are some of the pitfalls that, and again, you touched on this, but what are some of the pitfalls that you would hope your story could prevent to young student athletes out there? So essentially, if you're looking back, or even if a student athlete is watching this now, what would you say to him or her to say, hey, look, woulda, coulda, shoulda, listen to me.
Yeah. Um, well, I kind of touched on having a plan.
Hmm.
I just start out having a plan. The biggest piece of advice that I think that I can speak from is think about where you want to go. What do you want to do?
Hmm.
Do you want to move towards starting your own business? Do you want to start moving towards having good habits once you get out of college and get in the real world? What kind of job do you want to do? Um, what's it going to take for you to thrive wherever you're at?
Right.
Right. So think about the direction that you want to go and then plan your finances accordingly to
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Right. And
Right.
it doesn't matter if it's a small amount or a big amount, because I think one of the misperceptions that people have is, oh, well, I'll do that whenever I'm making more money
Yep. That's
or I've
exactly
got a
right.
lot of money. Well,
Yeah.
by then you've already missed out on a ton of opportunity in the 5 to 10 years, whatever it was,
Yeah.
to put yourself on that right path. So I think thinking about what you want to do, not just with your finances, but in general, what do you want to do with your life, with your career? What direction are you headed? What are your interests and your hobbies that you can translate possibly into a career down the road where you might need to have some capital set aside to help move you forward in that direction?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I never thought about that stuff until, I just always kind of thought, well, once I get done playing, I'm going to go get a sales job and then I'll go and I'll be happy.
Right. Don't
Life
work
don't
like that.
work that way. It does not work that way.
Right.
Um, and the way that my brain works too, I think about 100 million different things all the time and opportunities in business. Oh, well, can I put this together and that together? Um, but without having like that single plan or direction, that
Mhm.
set me back. And so it's taken me a lot longer to get to where I'm at right now,
Yeah.
for some of those reasons. And that would be my main advice. Just think about those things, right? Think about what you want to do and think about the things that you get excited and passionate about. Follow those, but then
Mhm.
also build into that plan. All right, I'm going to set aside money financially, for whatever that might look like, whether that's moving to, New York City, San Francisco, whatever,
Right. Right.
and having that plan together. But you got to think about those things just and write it down. Write it down no matter what. So like subconsciously, we're able to remember more things
If you
whenever we write it down.
preach, brother. That's Yep.
Right.
I do
Because
that now.
you're only using like 10% of your conscious mind
Hmm.
whenever you're only using 10% of your brain whenever you're using your conscious mind, and you use like, I don't know, 80%, I forget, right,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
of your brain whenever you're using your unconscious mind. So writing things down, automatically like stores it in your brain cloud,
Yep.
right?
I got it right. Yeah.
Write them down. And then at some point you can go back to it, but it's also going to help you subconsciously head towards the direction that you're wanting to go or even like thinking about.
Okay. Cool. And so then bonus questions. So
Yeah.
again, we were touching on at the beginning as far as the league and so forth. So once you got out of school, you got drafted, how did that translate? I know you said obviously the bad habits kind of move forward, but from a money standpoint, from just lack of budgeting, how did that all kind of snowball on you once you kind of got out?
It really didn't snowball on me until after I was finished playing. So I mean, I was only in the league for 3 years,
Hmm.
um, and I was doing fine around then. It wasn't until after I got out of the league, and those fat weekly checks aren't coming in. I'm
Right.
still out spending money and traveling and like doing this, that, and the other, having a good. Don't get me wrong, I had a
Yeah.
really good time.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted.
Hey,
I had a great time.
I had a really good time.
Yeah.
Um, but whenever I changed in it, so my first job was in pharmaceutical sales.
Hmm.
So that weekly income
Yeah.
changed a lot and really, really fast. And so that's when I started going back through, my bank statements, and I'm looking at the money that I'm spending, and I'm watching the numbers start to go down. I was like, shit, this uh this isn't the direction that I want to go.
Right.
And anyway, one thing led to another, and without proper planning and proper follow through with the things that I wanted to do, that's whenever it started to snowball a
Gotcha.
little bit. Because, in my opinion, whenever you had no money and then now you have a lot of money, it seems like that money's going to last forever, and it
Yeah.
ain't. It
Yeah.
just ain't.
Without a plan.
It's not going to. Um, so that was really, that was where it started to snowball. And if you get, for me anyway, I got into like just a habit of, here, let's go out to eat. Let's go, get a, I don't know, $8 mocha chai latte or whatever. Right. Whatever.
You get a latte. You get a latte. You get a latte. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, just like Oprah. I was on the Oprah show with everybody, right? They're just throwing stuff out. Uh, but no, that was whenever it really started to snowball on me, and started to see a problem. So I was able to alleviate that. Fortunately, like one of the best things I probably did financially with decisions was, I put a bunch of money away, that I couldn't touch,
Yeah. Oh,
because I knew that I needed to put some money away that I couldn't touch to keep it for down the road, and I didn't have any access to it, and so that really helped save me. But
hmm.
again, it was on the back end whenever that stuff started to snowball, from all the bad habits that originally started in Lawrence, Kansas.
Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah,
There it
man.
is, man. Just exposure, man. We just need exposure.
That's exactly, that's all it is. So I think what you're doing is great to help everybody, regardless of what direction you're going or not, because you got to make money, you got to take care of it, and you got to take care of yourself so you can take care of yourself and your family, whatever form that is, down the
Hmm.
road, and do it in the right way, and then be able to teach your kids the right way to handle it.
I hear
If
you.
you have kids or whatever, that, nephews, nieces, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Cool. So then the very last thing, tell everybody what you're doing now, business wise. What's Derek got going on?
Well, this one's easy. I can do this all day.
Yes, sir. Here to
um,
pitch.
So I just moved back up to Kansas City area, um, from Tulsa. Been in Tulsa about the last. Can you hear my girl screaming up there?
I can't hear him. Well,
Okay.
actually, I did hear something. I thought it was because my window faces Mass Street, and so I thought maybe it was something out of Mass Street. So they're fine.
My girls are up there screaming. A while ago, my dog farted while I was talking, and I was like, "Oh man,
I thought that was you. I thought no, I'm
come
joking.
through." Anyway, we were in Tulsa for about the last 9 years, and I did a lot of different sales avenues there, and I've been in the financial industry in some form or another since 2013. So we decided to make the move up here. I invested into a new lower middle market mergers and acquisitions company. So we're performing transactions for business owners, either representing them on the sell side or the buy side, doing business valuations along with doing business readiness evaluations, where essentially we help a business owner look at their business and see where they're strong or see where they're weak, and help, kind of like if you're preparing your house to sell and you got to replace your carpet or do some paint. So the same thing, essentially to help them prepare to sell, but also be able to get more money for their business. So we're just cleaning it up, right?
Sure.
We can help with growth strategy as well and stuff, but really the bread and butter of what we're doing is we're buying and selling businesses. And so, lower middle market is defined differently depending on who you're talking to. We're really going to focus on businesses that are going to be doing, we'll say like a minimum of $1 million EBITDA up to, we'll say revenue wise, we'll do anybody that's probably, we would go down to say $2.5 million in revenue up to 100 million in revenue. Okay. Our sweet spot's probably going to be between 2.5 to 50. There's really going to be a sweet spot that we're focusing on in terms of revenue.
Sure.
So yeah, that's everything I'm doing. I've actually got a couple other gigs that I'm also working on to complement my business. One is with a company called Bottom Line Savings, where we connect. Essentially what I do is I connect them with businesses that are doing 100 million in revenue or more. And they'll go through and they'll audit different expenses. So utilities is really big, right? So they'll go back to a utility company and they'll negotiate the rates and can negotiate them down. They'll look for previous savings and also prepare for future savings. So companies that are doing that, or say have at least $1 million in utility expenses, but they'll look at different data points. So I'll connect them, which is complementary to my business. And I've got another referral network that's similar to that, where they look at WOTC, so Workers' Opportunity Tax Credit for businesses, cost segregation, and a few other data points that CPAs normally don't do for their clients. And so it's really working out really well right now for a lot of small business owners, especially due to the nature of COVID.
Yeah.
So I've got those that complement what I'm doing in lower middle market M&A, but M&A is my bread and butter, and I try to use those others as complementary streams of revenue.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate your time, man. I really do, and we definitely have to talk more just on the business side after this is over. But
absolutely,
let's definitely keep in touch, man.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you having me and inviting me. I'm happy to share my story. So hopefully my story and my words are able to impact somebody in some form, or settle into at least one person's brain and help them get on the right trajectory.
That's all I want, man. Let's get one.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, I'll talk to you later.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Pat.
Yep.
See you.
Yep. Let's see.